Gluten-free foods promise safety. Labels shout clean, healthy, and gut-friendly. But here's the shocking truth. Many gluten-free products are worse than what they replace. Hidden sugars, chemical thickeners, sky-high sodium, the very things that can wreck senior health. Today, we're exposing 9 gluten-free foods to avoid at all costs, and the 2 rare options that are actually safe. Starting off with number 9, we've got gluten-free bread, the soft golden slice that looks like safety but often behaves like a chemistry experiment. You lift the loaf and the packaging practically brags, gluten-free, artisan, healthy. The slice itself is pillowy, a little denser than wheat bread, and it smells faintly sweet, comforting. The betrayal comes when you actually read the nutrition label and ingredient deck. To replace gluten's structure, manufacturers use tapioca starch, rice flour, potato starch, and xanthan or guar gum. Those fixes work for texture, but they strip away protein, fiber, and micronutrients. Large product surveys and nutrition studies find gluten-free breads have lower protein and fiber and higher salt or fat in some categories compared with regular loaves. That isn't small talk. It changes how your body handles a sandwich. Why this matters for seniors: a safe slice can be a hidden sugar or salt hit. Some commercial gluten-free loaves contain more saturated fat or added sugar to compensate for texture and taste. Others lack fortification with B vitamins that many wheat breads have. If you're managing blood sugar, that softer, starchy slice can cause glucose to rise faster than an equivalent slice of whole wheat bread. If you're on blood pressure meds, extra sodium from a tasty recipe can push your daily intake upward without you realizing it. Studies comparing gluten-free foods with standard products show the GF options often perform worse on basic nutrition measures, not better. The real-world betrayal shows up in more than numbers. You cut a sandwich and notice a slightly grainy texture and a faint metallic aftertaste, signs that rice or tapioca flour dominates. Those flours are higher on the glycemic index than whole grain wheat, so they release sugar into the bloodstream faster. For older adults who take insulin or other glucose-lowering drugs, that fast dump can mean a mid-afternoon crash or even dangerous lows if meds and carbs aren't balanced. On the other side, low fiber means slower digestion and less satiety. You snack sooner and pile on extra calories, which affects weight and heart health. Practical check before you buy. Read the label. If the first 3 ingredients are white rice flour, tapioca, or potato starch, don't assume gluten-free equals healthy. Look for whole grain GF flours, buckwheat, sorghum, teff, fiber content of at least 2 to 3 grams per slice, and minimal added sugar. For seniors, fortified breads or those with added protein give better value than low-nutrient loaves. Bought a GF loaf that felt more like cake than bread? Drop the brand and the first thing you noticed: texture, taste, or label surprise. Gluten-free badge that hides rice and tapioca is not allergy care. It's a convenience trade that can raise your blood sugar or sodium without telling you. If the slice is soft and sweet and the ingredient list looks like a pantry raid by a lab tech, treat it like dessert, not bread. Coming in at number 8, we've got gluten-free pasta, the promise of Italian comfort without the gluten, but often a metabolic shortcut. The box shows al dente pictures and a cooking time of 8 to 10 minutes. You boil a pot and the pasta swells, but the texture can be gummy or crumbly depending on the base flour. That texture difference is the tip of the problem. Multiple controlled studies measuring post-meal blood sugar found many commercially available GF pastas, made from rice or cornstarch, produce higher glycemic responses than durum wheat pasta. In short, gluten-free pasta can dump glucose into your blood faster than regular pasta. For seniors with diabetes or prediabetes, that difference is not academic. It's a day's worth of glucose control. There's more. Because rice and rice-based flours are common in GF pastas, rice-linked contaminants are a real concern. Consumer testing and watchdog reports have repeatedly flagged rice products for higher inorganic arsenic than other grains. People on a gluten-free diet often eat more rice products. That raises cumulative exposure risk over months and years. For older adults whose organs clear toxins more slowly, that buildup matters. Watchdog testing has specifically targeted rice-based GF pastas and found variable arsenic levels. Not all brands are equal. The betrayal of trust angle is sharp. The box sells whole grain or gluten-free comfort, while the finished dish behaves like a carbohydrate shot. Fast digestion, little fiber, and sometimes a mineral load you didn't expect. On the plate, the pasta can turn gluey if overcooked, and that gluey mouthfeel often masks how quickly it will raise blood sugar. Paired with a creamy sauce or cheese, a GF pasta meal becomes a high-calorie, high-GI dinner that seniors need to dose their meds around. Practical tips. Choose GF pastas made from legumes, lentil, chickpea, or buckwheat/sorghum blends. They tend to have more protein and fiber and lower glycemic impact than white rice pasta. Rinse rice pasta before cooking and combine with fiber-rich veggies and protein to blunt glucose spikes. If you regularly eat GF pasta, rotate grains away from rice when possible. Tried a gluten-free noodle that turned into mush on the plate? Share the brand and the dish. Did it spike your blood sugar later? One bowl of rice-based pasta can act like a candy bar on blood sugar if you don't pair it with protein and fiber. Gluten-free doesn't mean low carb. Lots of GF pastas raise glucose faster than you think. Pick legume or whole grain GF options if you want the comfort without the crash. At number 7, we've got gluten-free pizza crust, the freezer aisle artisan slice that can hide sodium, and a chemistry kit of starches. That perfect golden wedge in the ad looks crisp. In reality, many GF crusts are built from a mix of rice flour, potato starch, tapioca, modified starches, and gums, xanthan, guar, to mimic gluten's stretch. Those ingredients recreate texture but at a cost. Manufacturers often add more fat and salt to make up for lost flavor and mouthfeel. Comparative nutritional analyses and product labels show GF pasta, biscuits, and some pizza products can contain higher salt or saturated fat than their wheat equivalents. For a senior watching blood pressure, those added milligrams add up fast. Sodium math in the real world. Single slices of restaurant or frozen GF pizzas vary widely. Many fall in the 300 to 600 milligrams range per slice, depending on size and toppings. And some restaurant pies push well higher for large slices. That means just 2 slices can put a senior near or above a recommended single meal sodium target if other foods that day already had salt. Ingredient lists from chains and suppliers confirm the heavy use of modified starches, gums, and sometimes palm-based shortenings to get crispness, not the whole grain integrity you'd expect from a natural label. Beyond sodium, those gums and stabilizers can cause bloating and gas, not a small annoyance for older gut systems. If you're on multiple meds, fluid shifts from high sodium can interact poorly with diuretics and heart meds, causing dizziness or electrolyte swings. And because some GF crusts are rice-based, the arsenic and heavy metal concerns noted for rice products can apply here too if rice flour is a major ingredient. Practical senior rules. Check nutrition facts per slice and measure serving sizes. Prefer restaurants that use legume or whole grain GF crusts, or make your own crust with buckwheat, almond flour, or chickpea flour so you control salt and fat. If buying frozen, flip the box and do the math. If one slice is 400 plus milligrams sodium, plan a light, low-salt day around it. Had a GF pizza that tasted great but left you bloated or thirsty? Name the place or brand and the size of the slice. A gluten-free label on a pizza box can hide a pile of starches plus enough sodium to make your ankles protest. If your GF crust reads like a lab recipe, rice, tapioca, gums, and a short list of salts, it's not an upgrade for health. Treat it like fast food, not artisanal bread. Arriving at number 6, we've got gluten-free crackers, the light, smart snack that looks harmless on a cheese board but often behaves like processed filler dressed up in a better label. You crack a cracker and expect a dry, clean crunch. Instead, you taste a bland starch backbone with an oily finish that hangs on your tongue. Many GF crackers use white rice flour, tapioca starch, or potato starch as the bulk, then rely on refined seed oils and emulsifiers to give the mouthfeel and shelf life that gluten usually supplies. Those seed oils, canola, sunflower, soybean, are stable and cheap, but when they're used in high-heat industrial processing and stored for long periods, they can oxidize and create degraded oils, compounds linked in lab and animal studies to oxidative stress and inflammation. That matters for seniors who already have inflammatory joint conditions or cardiovascular risk. The other hidden problem is additives. To mimic a flaky texture without gluten, manufacturers add gums, emulsifiers, xanthan, guar, CMC, and modified starches. Emerging human and lab research shows some common emulsifiers can alter gut bacteria, increase intestinal permeability, and in some cases promote low-grade inflammation, effects that may worsen metabolic issues or digestive sensitivity in older adults. While the research is still evolving, the safest bet for seniors is to limit repeated exposure to heavily emulsified ultra-processed foods and favor simple ingredient lists. Practical red flags on the package. Long ingredient lists with words you don't pronounce. Oils listed as vegetable oil without specifics. Gums or carboxymethylcellulose, CMC, Sodium levels that push a meaningful chunk of an older adult's daily limit. A small bowl with a sliced tomato and cheese can be elegant, but if the crackers leave you thirsty and your ankles puffy the next morning, that salt and processed oil are the likely culprits. Which gluten-free cracker fooled you the worst? Too oily, too salty, or just cardboard? Drop the brand and the first thing you noticed. That light cracker can sneak in oxidized oil and emulsifiers that your gut and joints don't need. If the box reads like a chemistry lecture, treat the crackers like a treat, not a daily staple. Landing at number 5, we've got gluten-free cereal, the morning staple that markets safe and simple, but often hides sugar and residue problems behind bright boxes. Pour a bowl and the flakes look innocuous. Many GF cereals, especially corn or rice-based ones, contain more sugar and simple starches than their whole-grain wheat counterparts. Multiple recent analyses and comparative studies show many GF products score worse on sugar and fiber than regular versions. That means a bowl that seems sensible can spike blood glucose in seniors who are managing diabetes or insulin-sensitive medications. One food system analysis and recent market reviews report GF packaged products often have higher calories and sugar and lower protein/fiber than standard products. There's another layer: contamination testing. Independent labs and watchdog groups have found glyphosate residues and other agricultural contaminants in oat and rice-based breakfast products, and industry reporting has documented residues in some gluten-free items. Regulators and some public health bodies dispute the immediate danger from trace levels, but cumulative exposure matters for older adults whose organs clear toxins more slowly, and for people on complex medication regimens. Choosing certified organic or third-party tested GF cereals reduces that risk. Practical senior rules. Read the nutrition panel. If sugar per serving is over 8 to 10 grams, treat it like a sweet. Pick cereals with at least 3 to 4 grams fiber and minimal added sugar. Rotate away from rice-based cereals when possible. Consider plain oats, certified GF, topped with fruit and nuts as a safer, lower-sugar breakfast. Which gluten-free cereal surprised you with sugar? Tell us the brand and how you fixed the breakfast fallout. A box that promises gluten-free wellness can actually deliver a sugar hit that lasts longer than your morning coffee. If your cereal raises your glucose more than a muffin, it's not a health swap, it's a label trick. Choose fiber, not fluff. Transitioning to number 4, we've got gluten-free cookies, marketed as a harmless treat for people avoiding gluten, but often a concentrated dose of fat, sugar, and chemical baggage. You bite into a cookie that looks golden and soft. The taste is sweet, the texture engineered to please. To get that texture without wheat, many brands replace butter with palm oil and add emulsifiers and stabilizers to hold moisture. Several testing initiatives and public interest laboratories have flagged processed baked goods for elevated heavy metals lead, cadmium, sometimes arsenic, and other contaminants. Problems linked to ingredient sourcing and soil pollution rather than gluten-free status per se. Recent test reports and investigative pieces have drawn attention to heavy metal detection in certain cookie and snack products. For seniors with declining kidney or liver function, even low-level heavy metal exposure adds to lifetime burden. On the nutrition side, many GF cookies pack more fat and sugar than their wheat counterparts to mimic mouthfeel and shelf life. Some lab analyses find higher calories per serving and more saturated fat in certain GF baked goods. That combination is rough for older adults watching weight, cholesterol, or blood sugar. The all-natural badge on a shiny package doesn't stop the metabolic math. Practical signs to avoid: long ingredient lists with palm oil, vegetable shortening, multiple emulsifiers, and unnaturally low fiber counts. If you must indulge, choose small, single-serve portions. Look for transparent testing, clean label project or third-party certificates, or bake a simple oat-based cookie at home using whole food ingredients. Found a GF cookie that tasted like dessert and caused a glucose spike? Name the brand and how you dealt with it. A gluten-free cookie marketed as safe can still load your day with sugar, fat, and trace toxins that your kidneys and heart don't need. Cookies are treats, but when a safe cookie doubles your sugar and adds heavy metal risk, skip the label and read the panel. Coming in at number 3, we've got gluten-free energy and protein bars, the convenient fuel for busy days that often acts more like a candy bar in disguise. You unwrap a bar that markets protein and fiber, but the front label numbers can be misleading. Many bars contain 15 to 25 grams of added sugar and syrups to hit texture and shelf life targets. Industry reviews and lawsuits have repeatedly flagged popular bars for sugar levels that rival candy. A major legal action against a leading brand argued some bars had more sugar than consumers expected, and nutrition reviews show many bars exceed recommended single-meal added sugar for older adults. For seniors managing diabetes or metabolic syndrome, one bar can blow a careful medication diet plan. There's also an interaction angle worth noting. Many GF bars use soy-based proteins or soy isolates to boost protein content. Clinical guidance and case reports show soy products can interfere with absorption of levothyroxine, the common replacement thyroid medication, if consumed too close to dosing. That doesn't mean every soy bar will wreck thyroid treatment, but timing and quantity matter. Seniors on thyroid meds should avoid eating soy-heavy bars near their pill time and discuss diet with their clinician. Finally, ultra-processed bars may include emulsifiers, sweeteners, and preservatives that disturb gut bacteria or cause bloating in sensitive people. For older adults, unpredictable digestion and medication interactions make whole food snacks, unsalted nuts, plain yogurt with fruit, a safer move than daily bar dependence. Which protein bar surprised you by tasting like candy? Drop the brand and the sugar count you found on the label. A healthy energy bar that reads like a candy wrapper can undo a day of careful medication and diet choices. Bars are convenient, but when they pack candy-level sugar and ingredients that can interact with meds, convenience becomes a risk, not a solution. Coming in at number 2, we've got gluten-free frozen meals. The safe convenience that looks like a quick, worry-free dinner, but often hides a sodium and additive problem that matters for older adults. The frozen meal lives in two realities. The glossy photo on the box promises a balanced plate, portion control, and gluten-free safety. The real dinner tray often delivers a lot more salt, gums, and polymer thickeners than you would expect. Nutritionists and health groups use a simple rule of thumb for older adults. Aim for no more than about 600 to 800 milligrams sodium per single restaurant or prepared meal when possible. Yet many frozen dinners, gluten-free or not, routinely list 800, 900, or 1,200 milligrams on the nutrition facts label. For a senior on blood pressure medication or a diuretic, that one tray can erase a careful day of low-salt choices and cause fluid retention, a spike in blood pressure, or dizzy spells. The FDA and heart groups highlight sodium in ready meals as a key risk for people with cardiovascular disease. Why do gluten-free frozen meals tend to be worse? Manufacturers replace wheat-based binders and structure with starches, gums, and fats to achieve familiar textures. Those additions add calories and often require more salt to make the finished product taste good. In practice, that means a gluten-free lasagna or chicken entree may be higher in sodium and saturated fat than the wheat version. Beyond sodium, many frozen trays use hydrocolloids, xanthan, guar, carrageenan, modified starches, and emulsifiers that improve shelf stability and mouthfeel. Those same additives can cause bloating, gas, or loose stools in sensitive people, a real issue for older adults who already manage digestion and medication timing. Several product recalls in recent years have also shown that frozen prepared meals can carry physical contamination or labeling errors, which matters for people with allergies and for those relying on product labels to avoid gluten. Food safety reality matters too. Frozen meals are often shipped long distances, stored in retail freezers, and then sit in home freezers for weeks. If a manufacturer has a lapse, mislabeling, cross-contact in the plant, or a sanitation break, the mistake can reach many households before anyone notices. Watchdog and Ricky recall feeds show repeated incidents where supposedly gluten-free freezer items were pulled for undeclared ingredients or foreign materials. For seniors with celiac disease or severe sensitivity, one mislabeled tray can mean serious gut damage and weeks of poor nutrient absorption. Practical senior-focused rules before you buy. 1. Always read the nutrition panel for sodium per serving and then multiply by the intended serving count. 2. Avoid trays with sodium over 800 milligrams per serving, unless the rest of your day is extremely low sodium. 3. Prefer frozen entrees that list short, familiar ingredients, meat, vegetables, herbs, instead of long lists of gums and modified starches. 4. Keep an eye on recall feeds for the brands you buy. If you need convenience, consider batch cooking simple dishes in advance and freezing single-serve portions with controlled salt. That gives safety and true portion control. Bought a gluten-free frozen dinner that left you thirsty or bloated the next morning? Which brand and what did the label show for sodium? A single tray can hide nearly a day's worth of sodium and enough stabilizers to upset a sensitive gut, and the box picture will never tell you that. Convenience shouldn't come with a medical bill. If you rely on frozen meals, choose low sodium, short ingredient options, or make your own and freeze them. Coming in at number 1, we've got gluten-free beer, the brewed promise of safe social drinking that can actually expose sensitive drinkers to residual gluten and real gut damage. The label and ad copy make make it sound simple: gluten-free, brewed with sorghum/rice, or crafted for sensitive drinkers. The danger is twofold. First, some beers labeled gluten-reduced are made from barley or other gluten grains, but processed with enzymes that break the gluten into smaller fragments. These products can sometimes pass standard tests, yet still cause a reaction in people with celiac disease. Second, independent lab surveys and peer-reviewed analyses have found that a non-trivial share of beers labeled gluten-free or gluten-reduced contain detectable gluten above the 20 parts per million threshold used by many regulatory frameworks. That means some safe bottles can damage the gut lining of a person with celiac disease, causing malabsorption and nutrient losses that are especially dangerous for older adults who already risk low B vitamins, calcium, and magnesium. Here's how that betrayal plays out at the pub. A senior orders a gluten-free pint, expecting no gut reaction. Instead, they get abdominal pain, diarrhea, and then weeks of fatigue due to poor nutrient uptake, symptoms that can lead to falls, anemia, and worsening bone health. Lab science helps explain why. Testing methods vary. Gluten can be fragmented, evading some assays, and cross-contact in breweries can occur if lines and tanks aren't dedicated and cleaned thoroughly. Scientific reviews analyzing multiple brands found several labeled beers with measurable gluten. Some brands that used enzyme processing still returned positive results in competitive R5E-ELISA tests. That's not theoretical. It's documented in peer-reviewed work. If you're older and avoid gluten for medical reasons, here's what matters. 1. Prefer beers brewed entirely from non-gluten grains, sorghum, millet, buckwheat, certain specialty recipes, and produced in a dedicated gluten-free facility. 2. Look for independent third-party testing that publishes lab results. 3. Beware the label gluten-reduced. It's not the same as gluten-free and can have residual fragments that still matter. 4. If you're very sensitive, stick to wine, distilled spirits, or certified gluten-free beers with public testing. Consumer groups and scientific reviews recommend caution and confirm that not every GF bottle is safe for those with celiac disease. Tried a gluten-free beer and later had gut problems? Name the brand and share how it affected you. Did you test or just note the symptoms? The gluten-free badge on a bottle can be more marketing than a guarantee. Lab tests show it's not always safe for celiac or very sensitive drinkers. Social drinking shouldn't cost your gut. For medical gluten avoidance, choose only certified, tested products. And when in doubt, skip the brew. Coming in at one of the two actually safe picks, Bob's Red Mill Gluten-Free Oats, a plain, tested, reliable staple you can use every day. Why this works? Bob's Red Mill handles supposed gluten-free oats in a dedicated facility and publicly describes R5ELISA testing to confirm gluten levels below 20 parts per million in the oats they label gluten-free. That testing standard is widely used and accepted in celiac management, and the brand documents its protocols and dedicated lines. Oats themselves are naturally gluten-free, but cross-contact with wheat during growing, storage, and processing causes problems, which is why testing and dedicated facilities matter. For seniors who need steady fiber and predictable carbohydrate content without hidden additives or excess sodium, a plain certified oat is a strong choice. Health wins for seniors. Plain GF oats give slow-release carbohydrates, soluble fiber that helps control blood sugar and cholesterol, and a low additive profile so you avoid the gums and emulsifiers found in many processed GF products. Oats are also low in sodium and let you add controlled amounts of fruit, nuts, or seeds to round out a meal without shock doses of sugar. If you buy Bob's Red Mill GF oats, store them cool and dry and add fresh fruit or a spoon of nut butter to manage glycemic load. Practical tip: watch portion sizes. For people on strict carb counting, half a cup dry is a reasonable serving. If you have advanced celiac with severe sensitivity, start with small amounts and discuss with your clinician. Do you use GF oats for breakfast or baking? Tell us your favorite low-sugar add-ins. A tested plain oat isn't trendy. It's a predictable appliance for steady blood sugar and gut function. Choose tested oats from a dedicated facility. You get fiber without the mystery ingredients. And the second safe pick, Canyon Bakehouse Whole Grain Bread, one of the better mass-market GF loaves that actually leans on whole grain ingredients and transparent labeling. Why this one is solid? Canyon Bakehouse markets loaves that include whole grain flours such as sorghum, teff, and oat flour, and shows certified gluten-free labeling. Nutritionally, some Canyon loaves deliver fiber and a broader grain profile than rice starch white GF loaves, which helps blunt glucose spikes and adds micronutrients. The brand is widely available, and product listings include nutrition facts, so you can check fiber and sodium before you buy. For seniors who need a sandwich bread with controlled sodium and some fiber, a Canyon whole grain slice beats many white rice rice, tapioca alternatives. Practical senior rules. Always compare the nutrition facts panel. Choose loaves with at least 2 to 3 grams fiber per slice and sodium, under 150 milligrams per slice when possible. If you need fortified B vitamins, check the label. Not all GF breads are fortified like standard wheat breads are. For people with kidney disease, check phosphorus and potassium guidance with a clinician. Whole grains contain more minerals. What GF bread did you switch to and why? Taste, texture, or nutrition? Drop the brand and the slice facts you liked. A whole grain GF loaf that lists real grains is better than a soft, sweet, rice starch slice that acts like dessert. Not every GF bread is equal. Pick whole grain, tested, and low sodium for an actual safe swap. Don't risk your health on bad choices. Subscribe now, and I'll show you what to avoid and what's actually safe every single week.